What's one surprising thing that a child from a part of Africa, living in a part of Africa, has said about Africa? Here's 2 surprises I got. First, Banjul is in Europe. Second, do they drive cars in Oshogo? Oh my God. In this next episode, African children will discover the beautiful realities about Africa and why Africa is one of the most important places in the world. Welcome to the world of African ideas. Thank you for visiting me once again. I'm always thrilled when you guys stop by for a visit. Here in my world of African ideas, remember you get to discover great people, great places, great animals in the ecosystem, great objects and inventions, great foods, and best of all, great ideas to ever come out of Africa or that are connected with Africa. And I am your favorite, Yaa Koko. Thank you for coming once again. As is my tradition whenever you visit, I start every session with a game. Do you remember the game that I taught you?
Yes, Yaa Koko.
What's the game, Jamluju?
Name, place, animal, object.
Yes, exactly, and ideas. So, we're going to play another round of name, place, animal, object, food, and ideas. Let's see. Give me the name of an African object that starts with the letter C. Yes?
Coconut.
Coconut, yes, is found in many parts all over Africa, in fact, but it did not originate from Africa. Yes? Conga. Ooh, the special conga drum. Yes. The conga drum is beaten in many parts of Africa. They tell us that it originates from Cuba. I tend to believe that the conga has its roots in Africa. However, it's contentious. The Cubans might disagree with me. So let's find another word that nobody will debate with us about. Can you guess? Anyone? I have one. I'll share it. Calabash. Calabash. Have you ever seen a calabash before?
Yes.
I have one, but it's busy in use in my kitchen, so I can't bring it out here. I'll show you another time. The calabash is native to Africa. The English call it the gourd, Gourd. Do you know what it looks like? Anybody?
It looks like a round shape with something poking out like this.
Yes. It looks like a round shape. In fact, the fruit itself, you're correct, has this goblet kind of look because there's a neck to the calabash, right? So, but when we put it and we've dried it and we've hollowed it out, in other words, we've emptied the insides of the fruit and kept it dry, then the inside is hollow and empty. It appears like a bowl. And outside is brown when it is dry. And in Africa, calabashes have many purposes. We use them as utensils at home to serve food, to keep our food, our water, our soups. We also use them for decorative items. We decorate the body of the calabash and use it as ornaments to beautify our spaces. We also use calabashes for musical instruments. We string some seeds and cowries around it, and when we shake the calabash, it produces a lovely sound that it makes our ceremonies exciting. Shekere, yes, correct. So the calabash has a very important place in African traditions. Also, the fruit itself, before being hollowed out, has a lot of value. People eat it as food, and it has medicinal purposes also. It's very useful to help the body heal from various illnesses. So you see, calabash is very important in African tradition, both in ancient times and even in present-day modern African societies. I'm glad you've now discovered the calabash. Look out for it in your mom's kitchen or grandma's kitchen the next time you visit. Now let's move on to another important aspect of your visit that I always love to share with you. A great story. Are you excited to discover another great person in our African history?
Yes, Yaa Koko.
Great. I'm going to share the story about a great king that once ruled a powerful kingdom in the 19th century in Africa. His name is Shaka Zulu. Have you ever heard about Shaka Zulu? This is the first time you're hearing about Shaka Zulu? All right. Listen closely, everybody, as I tell you the story about this great king. Yes, Dolamu.
And Yaa Koko, you said King
Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu.
Yes.
Was it the person who made the language Zulu?
Zulu is a tribe, a kingdom in Southern Africa. Right? Good. So when you hear the Zulu, you're thinking about a whole ethnic group that eventually evolved into a great kingdom in ancient times in Africa. Not so ancient actually, because it's as very close, it's the 19th century. So not so far back in history. This was the period when the great Shaka Zulu built the Zulu kingdom into one of the most admired and respected kingdoms in the entire Africa. But let me go back in time to tell you about when Shaka was just a little boy. Now Shaka was born to his mother who was named Nandi. Nandi was a beautiful woman who one day the chief of the clan called Kajama sighted this beautiful lady Nandi and liked her and brought her home as his mistress. He already had his wife and his sons. But Nandi had a son who was called Shaka Zulu. But because she wasn't the king's real legitimate wife, they treated them as outcasts. They mocked them. Nandi and her son were mocked and abused by all the different members of the clan and the clothes and the wives of the Kajama. And so when Shaka Zulu was growing up, he grew up under mockery, under, people spiting him and his mother, and he hated it very much. At some point when he became a young man, he came under the mentorship of a great military warrior called Dingiswayo, a great military leader. And Dingiswayo discovered that this young boy is very courageous, very brave, very disciplined, and began to train Shaka to be a warrior. So Shaka started living in the camp of Dingiswayo, undergoing military training, becoming a warrior. Now very soon, the chief of the clan, Shaka's father, the Kajama, died. And so his son took over the leadership, the chiefdom of the clan. But Dingiswayo trained his mentee Shaka and counseled him to take over the rulership of the clan. So he fought against his brother using the military skill that his mentor had given him. He was able to unseat his brother as the chief of the clan, and he became the next chief of the Zulu clan. But Shaka was not content. He believed that the clan could be much stronger, could be greater, could be more respected. And so he began to implement reforms in the Zulu clan. He started to train all the young men to be warriors. He introduced a new technique called the buffalo horn technique. Do you know what the buffalo horn technique looks like? Have you ever seen a buffalo?
Yes.
You see the head of the buffalo and the big round horns of the buffalo. Shaka trained all the warriors to fight like the horn of the buffalo. So anytime they came against another enemy warrior camp, there will be a main regiment that will attack like the head of the buffalo. They called it the chest. Those ones will come frontally and attack. And then from the sides, 2 other regiments will come and attack the remaining enemies from the sides. And if those did not defeat, then they had the horn of the buffalo. The remaining army warriors will come and they will solidify or consolidate whatever the other buffalo horn warriors had done. No army could defeat Shaka Zulu's buffalo horn technique in any warfare. Every battle, the buffalo horn technique proved to be far greater and superior than any other technique that all the other enemy camps and enemy kingdoms were employing. So Shaka Zulu's warriors continued to expand. They were conquering every army. And then he said another thing. In the past, Warriors in Zulu kingdom, they will use a long spear. Have you ever seen a spear? A long rod that has a tip, a sharp tip a sharp metal at the tip, and they will be throwing it. But when you throw it, it might not land on the enemy with accuracy. Shaka Zulu said, no, we don't fight like that. For more accuracy and more certainty of death, we come with a shorter spear. So Shaka Zulu invented the short spear. And he said, warriors should not be afraid to go close to the enemy and hit the enemy with certainty. Bam! And so that's how Shaka Zulu's warriors began to use short spears in war, using the buffalo hunt technique and this new war implement. They began to kill. And there was no enemy camp, no warrior group that was ever able to conquer Shaka's warriors. So Shaka began to expand his kingdom. Soon, neighboring kingdoms became so scared of the Zulus. The Zulus, they grew. They were no longer a clan. They became a whole kingdom, taking over territories. People began to flee from their areas. In fact, it is said that the Ndebele tribe that now exists in Zimbabwe, modern-day Zimbabwe, were once under the neighboring territory of the Zulu kingdom. But they fled out of fear for Shaka Zulu and his warriors. There are other tribes that ran all the way to Malawi. They are rumored to have been once close to Shaka Zulu's kingdom, but out of fear, they fled to outermost parts and started, residing in these other kingdoms. Shaka Zulu's kingdom continued to grow in military strength, and then in other areas, internally, he continued to introduce new innovations. His kingdom became so revered. People began to come to visit to learn techniques about this great military warrior who was once a young boy that was despised. And Shaka Zulu became one of the most feared military rulers in ancient African history. Up until the 19th century, by the time of the end of Shaka Zulu's reign, the Zulu kingdom was heard about in every part of Africa and many parts of the world, and they were feared for their military expertise. There was no enemy group that was ever able to conquer Shaka Zulu's kingdom. But unfortunately, Shaka Zulu, as he grew older, became more paranoid and began to rule with a very rigid hand. When his beloved mother Nandi died, it is said that he mourned her so deeply that he began to kill those he believed were not mourning her. He felt that they were not mourning her effectively enough, and so he started ordering the killings and the murder of many people. He ordered the killings of pregnant women and children because he felt that they did not honor his mother well enough. That was because, as they say, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But when Shaka Zulu was still a young, principled king, he was a great military leader. Unfortunately, he fell the way of all men in the sense that power affected him and he became power drunk. But before that era in his life, he's still today one of the greatest kings that Africa has ever seen and that the world has ever seen. His military techniques were proven and they were revered, they were tested, and they were exceptional. So I want you to always remember that in the history of Africa, we have led great armies, we have introduced great military weapons and great military techniques in the African kingdom. Are you proud of this great king called Shaka Zulu?
Yes, Yaa Koko.
But do you have anything you want to say about this king also? I like Shaka Zulu, and I'm sad that at the end of his reign, he started killing people. That's why we must always surround ourselves with great advisors. We must never centralize all the power in ourselves, because power has a way of also intoxicating us. But let's not forget the good things that Shaka Zulu did, okay? So don't ever forget the story of Shaka Zulu and the Zulu kingdom, okay? One of the greatest kingdoms to ever exist in the world.
Thank you for playing my favorite African game with me. Now let's find the other items in the game. Let's begin with an African idea that begins with the letter C. Chi. Chi. In the culture of the Igbo people in Nigeria, West Africa, there is a special idea called Chi. Your Chi is like a special spirit guide that belongs only to you. The Igbo people believe that every person is born with their own Chi, given by God, who they call Chukwu. You can think of your Chi as a small spark of God inside you. a guardian that walks with you through life, and a spiritual partner that helps shape your destiny. The Igbos believe that while you live here on earth, your chi exists in the spirit world, guiding your path. Your chi encourages you to work hard, make good choices, and become the best version of yourself. This is why there is a famous Igbo saying, when a person agrees with their chi, good things happen. What's your chi saying to you today?
Now, I have another favorite thing I want to share with you today. Jum, you love proverbs a lot. Would you like to read to us an African proverb? No, sit, Jum. You don't need to get up.
A man who is accused of stealing goods should not entertain his guests with dried meat.
Can you say that again and a little louder so Chimamanda can hear you?
A man who is accused of stealing goats should not entertain his guests with dried meat.
Wow, I love that proverb. Now, this proverb is from Togo. Togo is a country in West Africa, very close to Nigeria, actually. When you cross our neighboring country, Benin Republic, the next country you will encounter is Togo. Have you ever visited Togo? Would you like to visit Togo?
Yes.
Yes, Chimamanda? Nice, yes. Togo was colonized by the French, so in Togo they speak French, while those of us who were colonized by the English continue to speak the English language, alongside our own ethnic languages as well, right? But I like this proverb. Does anybody understand what it means? Yes, I knew you would. The Lamu always understands these proverbs.
What it means is that if somebody is accused of stealing something, that like they should not give like the material of what the person stole.
Thank you, Dolamu, for sharing your idea of what this proverb means with us. But don't forget, a proverb is using a roundabout way to pass a message across, so it doesn't need to be interpreted literally, that is in the exact words, okay? Now, having said, this proverb, a man who is accused of stealing goats should not entertain his guests with dried meat. I believe that what it is telling us is that if you don't want people to perceive you in a certain way, or to look at you and judge you in a certain way, then don't act in a way that proves, or in a way that demonstrates, or in a way that shows that, you know, that's how you are. People will treat you how you present yourself, right? The way we present ourselves is going to shape how people interact with us, how people perceive us, and how the kind of reputation we have in people's eyes. So if you want to have a positive reputation, then you must act in positive ways. If you want to have a negative reputation, then your negative actions will ensure that that occurs. But you cannot say, don't accuse me, yet I'm showing them negative actions. I'm showing them, so you don't want to be treated as a thief, yet every day you are stealing. You don't want to be treated as a liar, yet every day you are lying. Do you understand? So that's what the proverb, the Togolese proverb is telling us. That if you want to be treated in a positive way, then act positively and people will treat you, or you will build a positive reputation over time. I think the lesson to take from this proverb is that our words and our actions matter. They help people judge us. They create a reputation about us in people's eyes. So never treat your words with levity and never act recklessly or carelessly, because people will draw conclusions about you from your words and your actions. Do you understand that? Thank you for listening to this Togolese proverb.
Next, name an animal found in Africa that starts with the letter C. Cobra. A cobra is a type of snake that is known for its wide hood and powerful venom. Cobras are found in many parts of southern Africa, where they live in forests, grasslands, and dry bush areas. They can also be found in parts of Southern Asia and Southeast Asia. What makes a cobra special is its hood. When a cobra feels threatened or scared, it spreads the ribs in its neck and opens them wide
to form a large hood. This makes the snake look bigger and warns other animals to stay away. Cobras are very alert and fast, and they use their venom to protect themselves and to catch food like rats, frogs, and small animals. Because their venom is so dangerous, people should never try to touch or chase a cobra. But cobras are also very important in nature. They help farmers and villages by eating rats and pests that can destroy crops and stored food. Have you ever seen a cobra?
And now, I have another exciting thing I want to share with you. Remember the great story of one of the wealthiest men in the world, the great King Mansa Musa. Remember that we started to learn about the way Mansa Musa handled money, his attitude towards money, his values and his principles around money. And we started sharing that so we too can be on our way to becoming wealthy individuals in the world someday. Last time you visited, I talked to you about the fact that Mansa Musa treated money as a tool. He understood that in this world, for us to solve problems, for us to, create value, for us to complete tasks, we need tools. And so the material tool in this world to solve problems, to be of value, to help society, to help ourselves, to pursue our goals, is money. Now, the second lesson I want to share with us from the life of Mansa Musa is saving money. Yes, saving money. It is very important, guys, that you learn to save money. Remember we said that money is a tool. Don't you save tools in a shed? Don't you keep tools somewhere so that when you need them, you can go and get them for use?
Yes.
Imagine if you go and spend all your tools. You go somewhere and you give away all your tools. Or you exchange all your tools and you have no tools left. Will you be able to do any task?
No.
If you're a farmer or in any kind of field you are in, will you be able to do anything if you have no tools?
No.
That's the way some of us act with money. We spend all the money that comes into our hands. We don't treat money as a tool. We don't keep some of it for us to use later, to solve problems, to complete tasks, to do good deeds, to improve our community, to pursue our goals. That is why we must always save money, because it's a tool. Does any of you play video games? You do. Do you earn points in your video games? What do you do with all the points that you earn?
You use them to buy, to upgrade.
To upgrade, yes.
My video game, you can use them to buy new clothes, to buy accessories, to buy better houses.
Yes. And sometimes in these video games, you might be stranded and then you might need some specific, tools like energy, what some games call life, or some particular features that they've kept in a bank, right? Imagine if you had spent it all. Imagine if you had nothing to leverage in your bank in those games because you spent everything. You must always save some tools. Money has to be saved up. The game of money must be kept as a tool. Money must be saved. Do you understand? Like any tool, guys, you must always save some of it. Not only for a rainy day, but also so that you can invest it. You can multiply it later and grow it. That's the importance. And Mansa Musa did that a lot. Apart from spending his money and the great vast deposit of gold he had, he saved a lot of it. That is why when he made that famous visit to Mecca, he was able to give some of his gold away on the way to Mecca to people and communities and, parts of the world that he passed through that clearly needed help because he had money stored up. Also, when he needed to build that great big university that all the scholars all over the world used to come to visit, it was because he had money saved up that he could do that. So this is why it is very important for you all to save money. Last week I gave you a task. I asked you to share with me 3 things that you can use money for as a tool. Did any of you do it?
Yes.
Okay, jump.
To buy
What kind of things?
like water for example, like to make your pen to write.
Okay, so you would use your money to buy your stationaries, your pen, your pencils, your things for school. That's one. Good. Okay. Yes, Shimamanda, I'll come to you, Dolamu. She had her hand up there.
I use my money on things I need like
But your mom and dad are already buying food for you.
so that's like when I go older and like I need
No, remember I asked you to describe for me 3 things that you would use money as a tool for in the immediate.
okay. So I use them for like the important things that I need like what your mother just said like stationery.
So mom and dad will not buy them for you
No, maybe just
to add to what mom and dad are already getting you. Okay. And then Dolamo, what will you use money for as a tool? Okay. So I'm going to send you guys back again, and in the next session you're going to show me the list of 3 things. Don't forget 3 things that you will use money for as a tool for some of the things you believe are your needs. Okay? Some of the things you need. Alright? But now I'm also going to add a second home assignment for you. I want you to go home, and if you don't already have a savings box or piggy bank or whatever you use to keep money, if you don't, any of you have a place where you save your money?
yes,
You do?
yes.
Good. So this week, do something. From every amount of money that you get this week, save a little part of it in that container or box where you already have money saved. And let me know how much you saved this week. When you visit again, let me know how much you saved between now and the next time you visit. Okay? Can you do that? You can. I'll look forward to that. Can you do that? Telamu, you look like you're struggling. Will you be able to do that? Good. So keep tabs on how much you're putting in that savings container because you're on your way to becoming little Mansa Musas.
Next, what is a place in Africa that starts with the letter C? Congo River. The Congo River is one of the greatest rivers in the world and one of Africa's natural treasures. It is the second longest river in Africa and the deepest river on earth. The Congo River flows through the heart of the Congo rainforest, travels across Central Africa, and even crosses the equator twice, which is very rare for a river. It carries an enormous amount of water and is one of the most powerful rivers on the planet. In some places, the water gushes very fast, forming strong rapids. In other places, it is calm, allowing boats to travel easily. The Congo River is home to many unique kinds of fish, while animals like birds, crocodiles, and other wildlife depend on it for food and water. 2 important African cities sit on the banks of the river: Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Brazzaville in the Republic of Congo. People there use the river for transport, fishing, trade, and daily life. You can think of the Congo River like a giant road made of water. Would you like to travel on the Congo River with me?
Finally, guys, it's been a great time. I want to share the last piece that I always share with you. What is that?
Role model.
Role models. I always tell you about incredible people who've done incredible things in Africa and for the world that you should try to be like, whose values you should try to embrace. You should try to copy those values, right? Because they are good values, and if you copy them, you will be on your way to also doing good things that will make others celebrate you. This visit, I want to share a great man. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see? Adebayo Ogunlesi. Have you ever heard about this man before? Have you? Anyone? You have?
Yes.
Oh, what have you heard about him?
He's the owner of an airport, and the airport was named after him.
Well, the airport was not named after him, but you're very correct. He's a major investor in several huge international airports. Several huge. In fact, he is nicknamed the Airport Man. So that's what you mean. Not that the airport was named after him, but he has a nickname, and they call him the Airport Man because he's the first African to be a major investor in 3 international airports, major hubs of global international travel in the world. Adebayo Ogunlesi. You wanted to say something also while you're thinking about it. So he began his life career as a lawyer. He trained as a lawyer. Do you know that why this man is so exceptional is that as an investor, you have to do a lot of maths and a lot of counting and a lot of figures.
He was not really good at math.
Exactly. When he was a young boy, he didn't like maths. He struggled with mathematics. He struggled a lot. But what do people do when they have a subject they don't like?
Study.
Well, most people run away from it. But he faced it. He studied it harder than any other subject because he wanted to conquer that weakness and improve in his understanding of maths. So he majored in it. Even when he was in his graduate school, that is, after his university, he went on for a master's in law. He combined that master's in law with an MBA, which is a core quantitative. In other words, he will be doing a lot of counting. But he decided to do it nevertheless. And so he majored in both an MBA and a master's in law. And he came out exceptionally excellent with a great distinction from one of the greatest learning institutions in the world, Harvard University. He went on and began to practice law, but later he moved on to banking and finance, where he became a major investment financial analyst. And from then on, he started his own entrepreneurial journey by setting up his own investment firm years later. And it is that firm that has gone on to invest in major infrastructural companies around the world, including airports that you mentioned, Dolamu. Today, Adebayo Ogunlesi is one of the wealthiest investors in the world, and he's proudly Nigerian. Proudly Nigerian.
Finally, name a food found in Africa that starts with the letter C. Chapati. Chapati is a soft, round, flat bread that many families enjoy across East Africa. It is made from wheat flour, water, a little oil, and sometimes a pinch of salt. The chapati dough is rolled into thin circles and cooked on a hot pan until it becomes golden and slightly crispy on the outside, but soft on the inside. Chapati has a mild and pleasant taste, which means it can be eaten with many different foods. People enjoy it with beans, vegetables, meat stews, eggs, or even sweet tea. It is very popular in Uganda, Kenya, Burundi, and Mozambique. And in many homes and markets in these countries, people make fresh chapati every day. Children especially love watching chapati being made because the cook rolls the dough onto circles and flips it on the hot pan, and it's exciting to watch. Have you tasted chapati before?
Yeah. So guys, this is a lesson. When you struggle with the subject, work harder. Get somebody to help you. Ask mom and dad to get you a tutor. Don't run away from subjects that you're struggling with. Conquer them. And not just subjects. In life, face your fears so that you too can become exceptional, and you too can become celebrated, and you too can do incredible things for the world. Thank you for listening to this great man. And thank you once again for visiting me. Do you have any questions for me before I let you go? Or do you have any thoughts for me? Yes?
Is he still alive?
He is very much alive. He lives in the United States of America with his family. but he also visits Nigeria very often. Maybe one day you might get to meet him. Would you like that?
Yes.
I think I would love to meet him, actually. Any other questions or any thoughts for me before I let you guys go? Okay. Thank you for visiting me. Thank you guys for visiting me.
Yaa Koko.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you'll visit me again another time and we'll have another exciting session together. Bye.